Oh, I have a feeling that everybody's gonna hate me for this video. But it needs to be done. It needs to be done. Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Kelsey K, otherwise known as KelseyKMUA, and I wanted to thank you so much for being here today. Guys, so today's video is going to be about all of the makeup techniques that I absolutely despise with a burning passion. Now, have I done a couple of these makeup techniques even here on my channel? Absolutely. Do I know that people are gonna call me out for it? Absolutely. But do I care? Absolutely not, because you know what? Every day it's about learning and growing and becoming a new, different person. And I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with learning and growing from my mistakes. What I'm not okay with is you guys throwing it in my face. Okay, thanks. But, so anyway, today what we are going to be doing is, like I said, a full face of makeup techniques that I absolutely despise. These are things that I feel like I have kind of grown to dislike throughout my makeup journey, and really finding out what it is that looks great on the skin, what it is that actually doesn't. Things that I've seen online, either on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, and then trying to sort that out between what is only for online and what's supposed to be like eye-catching and trendy, and then what is actually feasible in real life for real life makeup application. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Say a prayer for my skin. Speaking of skin, have you had your water yet today? Okay guys, so my first makeup pet peeve is when you don't moisturize. I'm a makeup artist, not a magician. Whenever I have clients that come to me or just people that ask me questions about, they're like, oh, well, my makeup looks really dry. And I'm like, okay, well, what's your skincare routine like? And they're like, what? Like, what's skincare? And I'm like, guys, skincare is oh so important. So making sure that you have a great skincare routine to cleanse, tone, and moisturize your skin day and night. I am not even kidding you. Your skincare routine is just as important in the morning as it is at night, and at night, and vice versa. So the next makeup technique or trend that I absolutely despise is by using a highlighting primer all over the face and then putting a highlighter on top to make it look even more glowy. Now this is something that I have definitely done before. I know I have, but you know what? I was young and I didn't know what I was doing, to be truthfully honest. Okay, so now granted, keep in mind that just using a pearlescent primer on its own is not a bad thing. Now this is a pearlescent primer that I wouldn't say is like overly glowy. I would say this is just the right amount of glow and luminescence that you can get for your skin, especially under a foundation, especially like a more sheer coverage foundation. It's gonna give you that really nice, like, glowy, dewy, fantastic makeup look. But at the same time, when you go in and add a buttload of highlighter on top of it, it doesn't exactly have the same effect. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a brush into my highlighter and just dip it all in and just start putting this all over my face until I end up looking like a glowing disco ball. I feel absolutely insane. I look like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. Oh my God. Get my hair out of my face. Okay, and so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is over color correcting, especially under the eyes. Putting way too much product on under the eyes, the only thing that's gonna do is just make your eyes look really cakey and gross, and where everything should look very smooth. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of like something that's smooth. I'm like, smooth like butter, smooth like yogurt. I don't know. But, so using an orange color corrector, I really do like using an orange lipstick as a color corrector, especially for like, you know, my darker under eye circles, but use sparingly as opposed to doing this. Oh yeah, look at this now. Now we're rolling. Sorry, dark under eye circles, never heard of her. I feel like my under eyes look like a traffic cone. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to somewhat blend this out with my sponge. Goodness gracious. What am I doing with my life? Okay, so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is using way too much foundation and not blending it in correctly. So I'm gonna use 2 different shades of foundation today that are actually not even my tone or my undertone. So I have here the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 Foundation and Concealer in the shade 01 Creamy Vanilla. Now this one I can pull off if I sheer it out the correct way and use like the correct concealer. This is not technically my shade, but you know what? I can get it to work for me, but I'm also going to combine it here with the Makeup Forever HD High Definition Foundation in the shade, well, I can't find the shade name, it's this one, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and mix these very, very thick, heavy, full coverage foundations. I'm going to mix them together and use way too much of them and put them all over my face and pray to God that my face doesn't end up with a bunch of pimples under it, because I literally just got my face clear like 3 days ago after having like a massive mask acne attack. Oh yeah, so here I've got a nice like good old hefty amount of my foundation here. I'm gonna mix these 2 shades together, and let's just go ahead and start patting this in, putting on way too much foundation and just putting it everywhere. And of course, because it's a makeup technique that I hate, I'm not going to blend it down my neck. Oh my gosh, whenever I go somewhere and I see a young lady, or just anyone really, I don't care if you're a young man who wears makeup and you make this mistake, this movie's for you too, or this video's for you too, my friend. If you don't have your foundation blended into your neck, I'm judging you. I'm like, guys, that's all you need. Just make your face and your neck the same color. Oh, and I'm also gonna go ahead and pack a nice little lovely amount of this foundation into my brows, so that then when I go to do my brows will look like greasy brown caterpillars. My sponge is so tacky with all of this foundation that you can literally hear it bouncing on my skin, like, because you can literally feel the of the sponge on my skin. So next makeup technique that I absolutely despise, that I know for sure that I have definitely done before, so please don't come for me. I know, I promise I've gotten better at this, but this technique is using way too much concealer under the eyes, all over the face, and not using your concealer sparingly. Like, oh my gosh, I remember the days where it's like I would make this just giant triangle of concealer here under my eyes, even after I've applied this like full coverage foundation to hide my dark circles that we've already like extremely color corrected for, and just concealer everywhere. Oh my gosh. My face feels so damp. Oh, I just want to blend it down my neck. That's all I want. Like, do you see this like straight up line? Like, what is life? Okay, I'm gonna let this kind of like sit for a hot second, because my face is literally like just straight cream right now. So we're gonna go ahead and give the face a break, and I'm gonna go ahead and move on to brows. So the next brow mistake or brow technique that I absolutely despise is using a shade of like brow product that it's way too dark for your brows, and then also making extremely thick block brows. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this ABH Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Caramel. And first what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take way too much. Oh my god, did you see that? It like came off the brush, and okay, that's awesome. I had way too much product on my brush. See, this is what happens. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take way too much of this product, and I'm just gonna start working it here into my brows. And I'm really just gonna go ahead and kind of just like really, really overline where my brows normally are. And then what I'm gonna do is instead of like feathering out the head of the brow, I'm gonna just use my brush like a stencil, and I'm just gonna make it a straight up square. like that. And then I'm gonna bring the tail all the way down here because apparently long brows are what? Like, what is this? Is this even an eyebrow? I don't know what this is. I mean, on the bright side, at least this one has a better arch than this one. Like, this one kind of just looks like I drew it on with magic marker. Now that my brows look like two rectangular trapezoid caterpillars that got run over by a semi-truck and then glued to my face, we're ready to move on to the next thing, which is my absolute favorite thing that I see online that drives me absolutely bonkers. The technique that I despise the most is an excess of powder. And yes, I have fallen victim to the excess of powder trend. The excess of powder technique, where you literally just sit there and bake your entire face. Oh, and especially baking under the eyes. If I have one more person come to me and ask me like, oh, well, baking under the eyes, and I'm like, absolutely not. If I have one more person ask me to bake their under eye area, I swear to God, I'm gonna throw a table. I'm just gonna throw a whole damn table. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and uncrease my creases here on my eyelids here. And I'm gonna go ahead and take my sponge, dip it directly into my powder, and just press it here right under the eyes to a point where I can feel the skin literally going. So here, I'm gonna bake one side of my face completely, and then I will leave the other side unpowdered so you can see the difference. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison to see if you guys can tell the difference between the powdered side and the non-powdered side. Okay, so as you can see on this side of my face where I have not applied the powder, everything still looks pretty dewy and glowy, which is nice. I mean, I would not dare go out without at least powdering just a little bit on this side, but like, oh, look at this under eye. Like, do you see the huge difference between how, like, this one looks like, oh my God, and it just feels terrible. This honestly feels like I'm wearing makeup. It feels like there's just all kinds of schmutz on my face, and it's just, oh, it's not a great feeling. But just like how the skin looks more dry. Now, granted, keep in mind, guys, I do have pretty good skin because I do take good care of my skin, so you won't really see a whole lot of texture and dryness because, again, like I said, I take good care of my skin. I don't really have a whole lot of like under eye wrinkles, but at the same time, I still do have them. So I do have to be careful to try to not do things that emphasize any like fine lines and texture and whatnot, but oh, like this, no bueno. These brows look just absolutely disgusting. Like, oh my God, it's so bad. Ah! Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just continue powdering the rest of my face disgustingly. So I do still heavily bake my nose, but everything else I'm kind of just like at a point now where I'm like, okay, a little nice light dusting of powder won't be bad. But like, look at how much crap there is now here on my sponge. Ugh. Like most days now I'm just like, okay, like like a nice little, like nice light dusting of powder, but nope, not today. Okay guys, so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is using a warmed toned bronzer to try to contour or bronzer the face. If you have not yet already seen my video on contouring, bronzing, and bronzing, I will link that up here, I think it's over here. But yeah, so using like a really warm tone bronzer to try to contour the hollows of your cheeks is just not gonna work because a contour is naturally more gray in tone and it creates the effect of a shadow, essentially. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to take my Lark Take Me to Tantiago palette and I'm gonna go ahead and mix together these two shades. So I have here a matte shade, which is Tan Diego, and then Tana Cruz. Now these shades are great for if you are really just trying to truly bronze the skin. Give yourself that nice like sun-kissed glow. But other than that, no. They should only be used for bronzing as opposed to contouring. Goodness gracious. Like, do you see the reason why this doesn't work with like a warm tone bronzer? I look like Elvis. I look like freaking Elvis with the sideburns. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Oh. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and contour, quote unquote, all the places that I normally would, but with this really, really warm tone. Now, another crazy thing about using a bronzer to contour is that typically like an actual bronzer will have a little bit of like a glowy sheen to it. So this one here, the shade Tana Cruz, this one has a bit of like a there's like reflex in it, so it's almost like a shimmer shade, and shimmers are great for it, like again, if you say you want to actually bronze, but if you're wanting to contour, a contour should be completely matte. Yeah, you know, to be honest, in the mirror it doesn't look too terrible. I mean, like, it's terrible, but it's not like too terrible, but like on camera this looks really terrible. Oh, Nelly. Okay, so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is using way too much blush, especially just on the apples of the cheeks. Your blush should be almost like a continuation of your bronzer. Should be starting here at the apples of the cheeks, well, depending on your face shape, and then kind of like blending just above your bronzer but below your highlight. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some blush, and I'm gonna take this like really, these blushes are so pigmented too, so this is gonna be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and stamp this here just on the apples of the cheeks, and I'm gonna blend it here into my bronzer so that then it looks just like mud. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, not gonna lie though, this shade of blush is really, really pretty. And everything is blending together really, really well because I have on 10 layers of powder. Okay, I think that I need to take a break from the face and let's go ahead and move on to eyes. Okay, so this next technique when it comes to eyeshadow that drives me absolutely bonkers is when you don't use an eye primer. Not using an eyeshadow primer is going to, it's going to make your eyeshadow not last nearly as long. If you have oily eyelids or even if you have dry eyelids, your eyeshadow is not going to stay in place. It's going to fade, it's going to transfer, you know, you're going to get all kinds of like gross creasing like I have right in here. So just imagine this with all the eyeshadow that you just worked really, really hard on. It's not a good time. So as opposed to blending out these creases here and then putting on an eyeshadow primer, I'm just gonna go right in with a really, really, really deep shade of like an orangey brown. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this here in the crease. And I'm gonna kind of blend it through, but I'm not gonna blend it out as good as I feel like I normally should, because that's another one of my huge pet peeves with makeup is when your eyeshadow is not blended. When I'm talking like blend, 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 and blend some more. It's literally killing me right now. Okay, so the next eyeshadow mistake I see is trying to take like a really like deep, dark brown shade and trying to put this here like all over the lid and trying to blend it into the crease shade to try to make like a smoky eye. I look like a crazy person. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take my powder brush and like wipe that away. I'm gonna do it kind of messily though. And it's still there, and you know what? I'm just not gonna fix it. Okay, and so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is taking a shade of eyeshadow, or like a really, really shimmery, like highlighting shade, and putting it on the brow bone, but not really like blending it in, and just making it like that really, really stark, blinding highlighting color. Because when you do that, it kind of just like distracts from the rest of the eye look. Now, I guess if you are trying to distract from an eye look such as this, then it might be a good idea. But taking like a really, really like bright white highlighting shade and just popping that here under the brow bone, so then it's all you can see. Yeah. No, this is not cute. Now, all of these techniques can be done, but very, very sparingly. Like, for example, I think by now you've noticed that a good majority of these techniques come from using too much product. Too much color corrector, too much highlighter, too much foundation, too much bronzer, too much blush, too much brows, too much. It's just too much. We can't do it. The next mistake I see with eyes is with the winged eyeliner. So typically when I see people doing their eye makeup online or trying to do their eyeliner, what they do is they tug here at the skin, and then watch what happens when I let go. I'm gonna go ahead and take my wing. I can't talk while I do this. Damn it, that was perfect. Okay, I guess we're gonna do the no side over here. So a lot of the common mistakes that I see when it comes to liquid eyeliner, so this is what your liquid eyeliner should look like. It should look like a kind of just like a sharp continuation of your eye. It should be lifting your eye. It should be like just sharp and gorgeous and amazing. Yeah. But what I tend to see a lot is this. Almost like a C shape. And then trying to like lift it up to your brow, but then using like weird strokes. And then to a point where your eyeliner just like doesn't match. We've got all kinds of like weird little strokes in there. It's not even. I honestly tried to do a worse wing. I don't know how in the world these wings ended up even looking. I love how like when I try to do like a really bad wing, they actually end up like halfway decent. But then of course when I try to do like a good wing, like when I'm trying to do my makeup on like a daily basis, or like for a to-do YouTube tutorial, they end up looking like absolute garbage. So go figures. Okay, so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is using a like dark charcoal black liner all along the waterline when you're trying to do like a nice bright look. Using a dark eyeliner for a look where you want your eyes to look bright and wide and awake is not very beneficial, because a black eyeliner, all this is going to do is really close off the eye because it defines where your waterline is. So I'm just going to go ahead and tight line here along the lash line, along the upper lashes, and then I'm going to put like a buttload of liner in the lower lash line. Okay, so what I have done here is, ooh, make myself blind, first of all. Oh, okay. So what I've done here is that I've put way too much eyeliner here in the lower lash line. So not only did I not get it just in the waterline, and so now it's like kind of all over the place, I'm looking very like Avril Lavigne circa 2001. Although, shout out to Avril Lavigne, I love you. So. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just not gonna blend this out. I'm just gonna leave it as is. It looks really like grungy and just not flowy, not frothy, not like frosting. I wanna look like a cup of Starbucks whipped cream everywhere I go. I just wanna look light and frothy and just like vanilla cake frosting. Is that a thing? Is that something to, you are what you eat, so does that mean that I have to just go eat a bunch of cake frosting? I've been craving cake for the last like 3 days, guys. I've been watching way too much Nailed It. Okay guys, so the next technique that I absolutely despise is making your lashes look like spider legs by either A, not using the right technique when it comes to mascara, or just applying way too much mascara to a point where it's like your lashes have just officially looked like clumps. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply my mascara in kind of a willy-nilly fashion. Just kind of like sloppily not really gonna worry. This is actually not a very good mascara to use this as a technique with because it's a very like defined mascara wand. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this one and make them all like, I'm gonna do just the tips to make sure that they all look like spider legs, and I'm just gonna clump them all together. And I've also got all kinds of mascara marks on my eyelids, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to not wait until they're dry, and I'm going to try to get rid of them by smudging them away with my finger, which is then going to make it smudge even more and then just make my eyeshadow look like absolute garbage. So you see here how I have like all these mascara smudges now? I'm gonna go ahead and try to wipe them away. I mean, you can't really tell. I've used, you know, I didn't plan out this brown eyeshadow very well. You know, and now I feel like I've kind of just got this like very like grungy 90s, bad 90s, grungy makeup look going on. And you know what? Had it not been for the bronzer, the blush, and the brows, I probably could have made this makeup work. Okay, so the next makeup technique that I absolutely despise is overlining your lips in a really, really bad way. So if you have not yet seen my video on how to make your lips look fuller, that is the do. This is going to be the don't, okay? So in that video, I went through and described how you should make just the center portions of your lips the fullest portion. So those are the ones you're gonna wanna fill in the most and deviate away from your natural lip line. So, but when you are overlining your lips, and if you go over everywhere, it just looks terrible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and overline my natural lip line pretty much everywhere I go, even up here in the corners. And then I'm gonna overline the outside of my lips here too. Until I look like this. Good gravy, I don't even know if this is even considered a like, don't overline your lips this way, and more of a just don't be horrible with overlining your lips. Look at these things. Look at this lip. Oh my god. Okay, but yeah, so you can see how over here, how overlining the outer portions of your mouth, as opposed to making your lips more like tall and pouty, what you're doing is essentially giving yourself like bass lips to a point where like your entire face, you're widening your lips this way, which in reality makes your lips look smaller this way, which where what you want to do is make your lips almost look like shorty and pouty and a kissy face. But if you're overlining everything, especially on the outer corners of your mouth, you're making the opposite effect. Oh, this is probably the worst makeup look I've ever done in my life. But that's okay. Okay, so next makeup trend that I can't even say that I despise this because I literally do this on like a daily basis, but you know what? I've gotten better at it. I have gotten so much better at not over highlighting literally everything. Okay, so what I used to do is just take like an absolute like metric boatload of like super shimmery highlight and just apply it literally everywhere. Oh god, I don't even think I've ever been this bad. Like, I've been bad, like, but I've never been like this bad. And just like, oh yeah, so all of that highlighter that we put on at the very, very beginning is like non-existent because we covered it with a full coverage foundation and like 5 boatloads of concealer and color corrector, and this is now what we are left with. And well guys, this is the finished look. I'm not even gonna bother setting this look because I'm about to go wash all the shit right off. Oh my gosh. Okay, well guys, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you liked it, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. It helps other people find the video. And if you want to help other people find this video even faster, then you can share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification bell so you can see more videos of me doing stuff like this. Thank you guys so much. I love you so much, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all. Oh, I hope my cleansers are ready for this.